Nothing in the world can get to me. When I'm on that track, there's nothing else that matters. Just going fast and turning laps, just trying to move forward. I could go skydiving or bungee jump, the adrenaline still doesn't compare. Taking that left turn fast as you can, the give and take, the bump, the bang. Trying to be the first to get to that checkered flag. I just wanna race my race. You gotta be fast or you're the worst. You gotta be fast or you're gonna get your just wanna race my race. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your relay. Get ready to rumble. That was
And we're back with Beers and Gears, episode 14. I'm Blade.
I'm Jonathan.
Charlie Spry.
We got Charlie Spry on this week. That answers the "Who are you?" question. So where are you from? Let them know.
Well, I'm originally from Janesville, but when I was a teenager, we moved to Orfordville, and I've been there ever since.
Nice.
So straight over on Highway 11.
Yep. So what was your first racing experience, and how old were you? It doesn't have to be driving. It could be watching. Or...
Well, when I was a kid, a little kid, I always liked watching the racing. At that time, mid-'60s, it was on Wide World of Sports.
There you go.
Which they'd show you about 10 laps of the NASCAR race. Then they'd say, well, let's go to the figure skating now. So you'd wait for a half hour of that, and then they'd go back and show 10 more laps of the NASCAR race. And that used to get me so frustrated.
Right.
So since I was so interested in cars and racing, my dad decided to take me to the races at a local track, but he wouldn't take me right away. I had to be, I think I was 9 or 10. He always said that I'm not going to take you until you're old enough to sit down, shut up, and watch the races. I don't want you running around all over.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
So I just fell in love with it right away, watching it in person, the short tracks. I just loved it. So that's how that started. That would have been 68 or 69, probably at Rockford Speedway, I think Jefferson and Madison.
Those are some good ones, yeah.
Yeah, and run around from each track here and there. What was your favorite drivers you can think of?
My first favorite driver was Tom Ruffner.
Oh, okay.
Because he had a great big Mercury Comet with the great big slicks sticking way out. He had Mercury Mind Stomper written on there. I thought that was
there you go.
No kidding.
So he would be one of them. Dwayne Walsh was another one because he had the character Snoopy on the car.
Oh.
And I thought that was really neat.
Mm-hmm.
So those were probably my first two favorites on the asphalt side of things. We didn't go to much dirt racing at that time. It was all asphalt. We didn't really have anything close that was dirt.
It's still pretty cool to actually have like local favorites instead of everybody thinks you're going to go NASCAR,
right?
Like stuff like that. But it's really cool to hear some of the hometown heroes, I like to say.
Yeah, and even at a young age, those drivers were good. You could go up and talk to them. They'd put you in the car and stuff, and they really looked after the kids. So they were kind of my heroes. Pretty much anybody that raced.
Oh yeah,
at that time.
We kind of talked with Wes Digman about your heroes at the racetrack kind of thing. And he said, I know that guy was just a local guy, but to me at like 8 years old or whatever, that was like walking up to like the biggest professional driver. Yep. And you're scared to say anything to him.
Sure are.
I mean, I was just that way with Tim Nash at the Dome. I walked past him 2-3 times before I went up to talk to him.
Right. I still am that way. I'm a little bit hesitant sometimes to talk to drivers at the track even.
Yeah.
If they're busy and stuff, I really hate to bother them. Yeah, but it's been really, really good. I mean, especially at Darlington. Anybody there will just take. Peyton Hendrickson that I talked to. Mm-hmm. They kept calling for the drivers' meeting. I said, "We better go to your drivers' meeting." Oh, I don't need to go to that. Let's talk some more.
Yeah,
there you are.
That guy is a good guy. He'll get talking, and he's nice.
So that's just what you get. I mean, everybody loves to talk, and I love to hear the stories.
Mm-hmm. Well, just me and you, I get carried away every now and then. I'll stop you when you come in.
Yeah.
We'll talk for at least a half hour, and I'll be like, oh, well, I better get going here.
That's fun. Yeah. And doing what I'm doing now with writing for the papers and stuff, that opened up a whole lot of doors to meet a lot of people. Because I had to meet people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's your job.
Exactly, and you do a great job of that, too.
Well, thank you.
I mean, he wrote an article of us. It was the first time I had ever been in a paper, ever.
Yeah.
And then he started writing it. We were talking, and he was writing everything down. And it ended up being the first night I won the heat race. I told him that later. And then he wrote that in there. It was pretty cool. That's in a big box,
Yep.
shadow box at home now with the first flag.
I just love
and-
that when that happens. Because occasionally I'll talk to some guy and he'll say, well, I've never won a feature. And you say, well, maybe tonight's your night. Then he goes out and does it.
Yep.
Oh, that makes me feel really
Oh
good.
yeah. No kidding.
And another thing that was cool about that article, it was the only I got to take that article. My grandpa wasn't doing too hot when I got that win. I got to take that article and show him it. It was the only time I'd ever been in a paper, and I could show him that,
Right.
and he thought it was pretty cool. So that made
Yeah.
me feel good about that. But so you were watching racing, then you jump into driving. When did you do that? What made you do it?
Well, I did the spectator drags down to Rockford Speedway. I started in 1980. I wanted to try that out because you could take your street car out there and have at it one-on-one.
Huh.
And I found a Hugger Orange 69 Chevelle two-door hardtop.
There you go.
It was rusted out. It had been hit in the rear quarter panel. This is the perfect car for this.
Yeah.
So I brought that home, and I was driving it on the street. And I was probably 20 years old at the time, 21.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some little modifications to it, and it was loud and obnoxious and with fat tires and the kind of car that cops don't like you to see.
Yep.
So I thought that was pretty hot. So I started taking it down to Rockford and doing the one-on-one drags. And one night I actually won. I was the top eliminator, and I got my first little trophy.
Nice.
Ain't that
nice.
something?
And I still have that.
Oh yeah.
And then I was kind of dormant after that. I didn't do anything after about 1982. I just, well, I'm done with it. That was my fun.
Right.
I got offered a chance to race a four-cylinder Bandit car at Jefferson at the end of 2002. So that was my first real oval track experience.
Right.
And to be honest, I didn't do very good. I think I finished last in the heat. And in the consi, I finally got close enough to somebody in the back that I rammed him in the rear end. So I thought I was probably doing a little better anyhow.
Yep.
And then I actually bought a car at the end of that year, and I started racing four cylinders in 2003 at Columbus a lot.
Yep.
And then it kind of moved on from that, on and on and on. Got better cars, started traveling more. Then I even tried racing at Darlington for a couple of years on hit and miss, and I was not good at that. I wish I would have stuck to it,
Yeah.
and done more of it, because
Right.
I think I could have figured things out better
Mm-hmm.
and done better. But I sold the car, and then I thought I was kind of out of it. And then a buddy of mine asked if I wanted to race a six-cylinder at Madison. So then I got into that. And I started taking the car up to Marshfield all the time and did really good up there. I just loved that place, half-mile track.
Oh, no
Right.
kidding.
And then after that, I got tired of taking the long trip up there all the time, so I just finally sold it.
Just hung her up, huh?
Yeah.
But, well, I'm not a kid anymore. It's getting harder and harder to get in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got quite a bit of experience getting in and out of cars, different cars. and
Yeah. I probably raced oval track for about 20 years.
20 years.
And with all them races, do you have any favorite experiences from them?
My very first heat win.
Oh,
I
yeah.
never ever won a feature.
Yeah.
I got second like 5 times, but I never quite won one. But that first heat race win, that was just like euphoria. I won! I beat all those guys.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I've got that trophy too.
Well, you got a trophy? I got a flag that I had to save that.
Yep, Columbus used to give trophies for heat races.
Oh,
It
man.
was kind of neat.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it would.
I had my first trophy was just at the points banquet, a top 5 position,
Right?
basically a participation, but it shows you were able to hang for the
Oh
whole
yeah,
year.
that
Yeah.
means a lot. Those are hard to get.
I still
Yeah.
got that one. I got all the participation
But
ones.
those are very hard to get.
Oh yeah.
I never ran weekly that much anywhere. I bounce around from track to
Yeah.
track, except the last 2 years I did at Marshfield. Hauled all the way up there every time,
Oh.
and I got second. So I get the really, really huge big trophy. That's my pride and joy.
No kidding.
So that'd be pretty cool experiencing
Oh, yeah.
driving just track to track weekly, basically, just
Mhm.
different tracks.
And I didn't race every week because I was writing for the Checkered Flag Racing News at the time. That took up some time, so I hit and miss.
Right. And then, so what are some of how many tracks do you think you've actually raced at now that we're actually talking about the
I
track?
think I counted it up a couple times. I think it's 13 or 14.
13 or 14. That's the most that
Dang.
we've had from our guests.
Yeah, and which one do you think was your favorite of them all?
I really enjoyed Marshfield.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like I said, I wished I would have stuck with the dirt with Darlington.
Yeah.
mhm.
I liked that.
Well,
I sucked.
So I've talked to a couple asphalt guys. They said that they were pretty cocky about, not necessarily, not all of them were cocky, but they all said like, "Oh, I can drive. I drive on asphalt." And then they come to the dirt, like, this is way different than what I expected.
Oh yeah, I realized that right away. These guys know what they're doing here.
Yeah.
They're not playing. These people know what they're doing. I did have before I ever raced though. I talked to a friend of mine he's done both. He's from way up north. His name was Phil Maliff, and he'd done a lot on dirt. And I said, I just don't know if I'm going to know how to drive dirt. He says, trust me. You get out there, you're going to know what to do.
Mhm.
And he was right. I basically did.
Kind of felt it
Yeah,
through,
yep,
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Man, I wish I knew what I was doing when I got out there. Sometimes I still don't think I know what I'm doing.
yeah, you're getting there though.
Oh yeah, you do well.
Then I thought it was pretty cool. You started sharing old pictures of your cars and
Mhm.
My race, crack a beer afterwards. I just wanna race my race, my race. Life is full of turns, get that flag stand on that roof. Whoa, I just wanna race my race. I just wanna race.
you racing, and we had there was a picture of your car here, one car above you, and then like a blank neon kind of down at the bottom. We couldn't figure out who it was, and then Eric Bogue chimed in. He messaged me like, "Oh yeah, that was me when I got my first neon." That was
After I looked at that, I realized, no, okay, yeah, that is him.
Yep.
Yep.
And he held on to that car for a while too.
So I did pretty good. I got my doors blown off by Eric Bogue, so that's
Well, at that time it was probably not irregular, but after that it was like 6-time champion.
Right.
Won just about anything out there.
Well, I remember one of the first. I think it was the first time I raced on there.
Yeah.
I finished second in the heat. Only problem was there's only 2 cars that finished.
Oh.
It was really, really sloppy, and that might have been that race.
Yeah.
I think Eric might have collected a tire or spun out or something.
Oh.
A couple other guys did, and pretty soon there's only 2 of us running.
Eric said that there was a year that Darlington had 3 cars basically all year,
Yeah,
and instead of doing the 1, 2, 3 start, they were doing 3 wide starts right away.
Yeah.
That would be just nuts. Well, Darlington, probably the front stretches wouldn't be too bad on a restart,
right.
but it gets pretty tight.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to either have to lift or outdrive everybody into the
Right.
quarter. But it just sounds nuts to me. We did it down in Macokota at Iowa Dirt Nationals this year, and I don't know if I like that. It was something else for sure.
How is the Macokota track? Is that pretty wide? Or I've never been on it. So I
It's
don't.
decently wide. It's not as narrow as you think it would be for a quarter-mile track.
Right.
It's a smaller one. But the only thing I could say is the first time I went out there, it was right when I got the car wound up. It was time to let off again, and it was like, this is weird.
Mm.
And then they have like the horse track that runs around the outside of it, kind of thing, where it used to be a horse track, whatever. And my first time down the front stretch, I kept going, and I looked over and like, wait, that's the front stretch. It felt like Darlington. I was going down the exit of the track because I'm used to the little bit longer straight stretch. So I was just
Right.
like, because it's kind of flat on the exit part, but until you get to the corner, it kind of has a lump there, and you realize real quick that that's the track over there.
Man.
I wish I would have raced at more dirt tracks. The
Yeah.
only ones I ever did was I did Central Wisconsin Raceway up in Marshfield.
Mhm.
And that place is gone now. I never did get a chance to get to Freeport.
There's so many of them just gone.
Yeah.
And a lot of them either attendance were bad or just didn't have it no more.
Buke is one I would have liked to have done.
Yep.
I never got a chance to do
We'll
that.
get a car together and go down there. Make a couple laps. It's a fun track to be
Yeah,
at.
I don't know if I get in the car. I don't know if I get out.
Something I always wanted to do. I don't know if I can get the track was okay with it for a test and tune. I don't know if they'd be okay with it for anything else. I wanted to get a 2-seater together, not like a 2-man cruiser thing, but
Right.
like a ride along kind of thing.
Well, that'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
a thrill for a lot of people, especially on the dirt track.
Oh
Yeah,
Throw it sideways in the corner and
exactly. Just kind of
see
get
their
them.
eyes get big.
Yeah.
And obviously it'd have to be something small, like a 4-cylinder, because you throw a big car into the corner with somebody who's not used to that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, they'd really be.
Oh,
Have to
yeah.
change underwear after that.
Yeah.
I mean, even 4-cylinders now, we're cooking.
Oh yeah,
Their
sure
lap
are.
times are quick as hobby stocks,
Yep.
quick as all those. And it's all because of front grip instead of sliding around. It's more pulling you around. But
Every division progresses.
oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's-
I mean, I bet we've gained like 15 mile an hour since I
Oh,
started
easy.
racing. Easy.
Yeah.
I'm going to be modest about it. I don't want to say we're lighting fires, but
I
we're
mean,
quicker than what we were when I started.
Oh yes.
I guarantee you, if we got my first car out there the way I started, wouldn't touch it. Nowhere near.
Well, I'm looking through these old statistics, trying to figure out feature race winners for Darlington.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going back there. I think they started the 4-cylinders in 2001. Wasn't the first year. But then I'm looking at. I wrote a column later that year talking about the new year, and it said, "Well, this year Darlington is going to require roll cages."
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm guessing they didn't require a roll cage in the car at first.
Yeah.
And that's when they had about 90 of them a night.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was also told it was basically knock your windows out
Yep.
and get out there. When Eric started racing, he said that it was caged. You have to have the working radio. You had to
Yep.
have the heat AC stuff in there. You had to have like these working brake light had to be on the
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, in theory, that might be nice.
A lot of
Somebody
them
can
still
see
do that with the brake
A
light.
lot of asphalt tracks still do the brake
Uh-huh.
light.
Yep.
I mean, that could be nice. You tap your brake coming in the corner. They're like, oh, that guy's tapping the brake.
And you hook up a little switch there so you can.
So you make
Yeah,
them
there
brake
you go.
brake real quick.
Yeah.
Shh, don't tell the secret. That probably already exists.
I'm sure it does.
Honestly.
Kind of getting into that. So then, what makes you decide that you want to start writing articles?
Well, that would have been. I think I was trying to figure that out. It was 1989 or 90. But I was getting checkered flag racing news out of Watertown, and I always enjoyed it. And I thought, well, I could kind of do that. I got some things I'd like to say. So I actually went up to their offices in Watertown and talked to a guy. His name was Jim Cleveland. And he he wasn't the owner, but he did a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, you can send some stuff in. If we like it, we'll print it. And so then he kind of gave me a test there, because I'm talking about all these old race cars from the late 60s. He's showing me pictures of hobby stocks from that time. He says, do you know who that is? I said, yeah, that was so-and-so. And you know who that is? Yeah, that was so-and-so. So I think he was giving me a test to see if I was BSing or if I
Yeah,
really,
and then you're
definitely
really
knew.
serious
Yeah.
about it, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So then they just started printing it, and one thing led to another. And they closed in 2005. They shut down. So then I did just stuff on a website for maybe half a year. Then I did for Fast Tracks magazine, which then shut down after a couple of years.
Mhm.
That's when Dan from Midwest Racing Connection got a hold of me and asked if I wanted to write for them.
Perfect.
And I've been doing that since, and it's going good.
Mhm.
Gotta love it.
It's definitely been cool to see our local
yeah.
guys on there. Just kind of popped up there
Yeah.
that one year. Like we had Eric Bowe was like the first one on there, and then I think he jumped to either Kyle or me, and then Peyton was on there.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat to see that stuff and read.
Yeah, I had gone to Darlington a couple times a year, but I kind of went to Madison more. But then they asked me if I would do an article on Noah Eisenhower there. I said,
Okay.
yeah, but I said, the people there don't know me. I'm going to go to the pit gate, and they're going to say, who are you? Well, we'll talk to them. And they've been outstanding. Very, very good to work with there.
Yep.
I think it was Carrie was the first one I dealt with there.
Oh yeah, we're gonna.
Oh, yeah, you're good. Anytime you want to come here, it's just fine. And it's been that way since. And I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
The people there are outstanding. And you get treated good.
Family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be sad to see Carrie not there this year.
Yeah, it is.
It's-
Yeah.
She was awesome. Extremely helpful.
She did so much.
Except for when she gets aggravated over the receiver. You listen to her yelling at people, and I'm just glad we got the receivers figured out. For a couple of years, it was like staticky in a couple spots. Then you heard some people really get yelled at.
Are you listening to me?
Yeah, some of the words were not fit
Yeah,
for
yeah.
YouTube. But
Yeah, I didn't know she did that.
Yeah.
She was the choice of the receiver, too.
I don't know all the jobs that she's had, but I know that she's got quite a bit of jobs.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll have to get some other people on here to talk about that. I know I got one guy lined up who could probably tell me a lot about her than anybody else knows. So.
Yeah, she's just really good person.
Oh, fantastic. She became more like family. I raced against her husband, Brad, when I first come in.
Right.
And he didn't like me when I first came in because the first thing I did was run into him.
Yeah.
I remember that vividly. He parked right across from me, and he gets out of his car, throws his arms up like that. I didn't know what he did, what happened, so I threw my arms up like that.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I'm like, he might come down here. I don't know. But it all worked out.
Right. Yeah. People get over it.
Yeah. You ever have any of those where people get kind of aggravated with you? Or?
I tried to be really, really careful because I was writing for the paper and I didn't want to give them a bad name or anything. I had one guy my first year, he would take me out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they would even black flag him and stuff, though, so I guess I had the last lap because he'd just take me right out. But other than that, everybody was pretty good. It got so when I raced the Sixers, I had some guys tell me you need to get more aggressive. You know, when people move you, move them back. So I started doing that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, people don't move me as much.
Yeah, because then they can't
Just,
get away with
they
it.
can just kind of shove you up and you're like this, and then you
Yeah.
drop back 4 spots.
Yeah.
Get back up there and whoop, a little. Whoops, sorry.
Yeah.
Luckily, we don't have that much on dirt, really. Not as much as asphalt. They move you out of the groove, and you're
Right.
Yeah.
You're goodbye.
Yeah, you can't be moving people on the dirt like that.
No, and we can't even see them on the dirt
Right.
either. So
You know, that's a good thing. The asphalt cars got mirrors. I think that's the biggest mistake.
Yeah.
once you see those mirrors, you see somebody coming. That makes you kind of want to go. Oh, you can't go by me.
There's a lot of mirror driving.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I noticed that when I first on the dirt, no mirrors, and I think it was Jason Udelhoven. I asked him, I says, well, what do I do if I'm getting lapped? He says, just keep your groove. They'll find a way around you. Don't go up, down, all over the place. Stay in one groove. So I did that, and that was fine.
Yeah.
Nobody took me out. Nobody did nothing. They just went around me.
I don't know if you were there one night. It was the week after I blew my motor up. I was driving somebody else's car for points, and their car was running on about 2 cylinders.
I can't think I remember that.
So I got lapped probably about 10 times in a 12-lap race. And I thought the same thing. I'll just hold my line. I know I'm going to get lapped. Well, I think Jason Kirk was leading the race. And all I could hear is I'm like, I fixed it. It's good now. and then all of a sudden, he's and I see Kurt go right by me. What he did was got behind me and just started pushing me.
Uh-huh.
I don't know whether he wanted to be out of the way or if he was just being funny or what. But for half a
trying
second,
to give you a little boost.
for half a second, I thought I was going fast.
That's kind of funny.
And then
yeah, you don't have a mirror, so you don't know.
I was literally waving at the crowd, going hi. Then Eric Bowe had a fuel pump issue in the corners, so his car would start cutting out in the corner, be door to door with him, and be like, hi! Didn't hit nobody. I did not finish last. A couple people wrecked out. It was fun.
Yeah. That's another thing I was told. Don't ever pull off the racetrack just because you're slow.
No.
Keep going, because you'll be surprised how good you finish sometimes. Just by making laps.
Oh,
And that was true.
Especially with the over-aggressive people.
Yeah.
So then we noticed that, I skipped some things. You keep records and stats you were talking about, and now you're collecting a lot more of the stats, putting it all together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to go through, I'm working on Lafayette County right now. I had the whole stats, but I'm going back through with a fine-tooth comb because there's some stuff I missed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to find everything I can get. And it's driving me bonkers because I'm missing 2 dates from 2000 and 2 from 2001. And it seems like nobody has this stuff.
Right.
But I'm not going to give up. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get everything.
Yep.
That's how you have to be, though.
Then I'll work my way back from there.
Yeah.
From try to get the Enduros and then back in the 60s and stuff.
Yeah.
That would be nearly impossible to get.
Back when the big wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And because I remember I had asked you about my uncle, and then you're like, I got nothing about that yet. that we can find.
Right.
And I don't even know when anything. I have no information other than he did race.
Right.
And we got one picture of him. It looks like Dubuque, but it could be somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's fun to do that. See if you can figure that stuff out.
Right.
I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I liked it because you posted every now and then with your pictures and stuff.
Yep. People
And,
like to see that.
Mom and I go through and we can find people that she went to high school with and all that she didn't know race, but they were racing.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty neat. When I took pictures, I would wander around the pits and randomly take a picture, and I've got pictures of guys that showed up one time
right
and never saw them again. And people are looking, who is that?
You just start lying and well, that's a local legend right there. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I've had some that they argue, oh, that's not who that is. Oh, I know it is because I was there.
Right. And what year did they close? We couldn't come up with that. I know that it was like 60 something.
For Darlington?
Yeah.
I think it was 70.
71?
71.
I knew my dad was pretty young yet. And because they had been to a couple of them when my great uncle raced over there. And because he raced the Packards over there, is what he raced at Darlington. And then he raced, I think it's a Camaro in the picture that I showed you. And which is crazy. You'd think that somebody would race a 69 Camaro on a dirt track.
They were very common.
Yeah.
Very, very common.
Nowadays, you think of that like...
Yeah, you look at these cars that were destroyed, 66 Chevelles and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
And I know some older people at race, and it's funny, they tell you these stories about from the late 60s, how they'd buy almost a brand new Ford Fairlane or something that had a fire, make that into a race car, brand new car.
Oh, and the real serious people, they'd buy one from the factory and
some would buy
it apart
buy
that
them,
day.
buy a brand new car and race it. Yeah.
Yep.
Staggers the mind now with what a car costs.
Well, nowadays it'd be impossible almost.
Yeah.
Right.
But then my dad was telling me you could buy a car off the side of the road for $100. And nowadays, if you buy a car for $100, you might as well just take it to the scrapyard and get your scrap price.
Scrap,
Yep.
The scrap price is even probably more than that.
Probably like $250 or something like that.
Yeah, unless you had spare engines to throw in them. Yeah. It'd just be scrap.
It's crazy. And I love seeing the old pictures of that, even the big timer racers racing the old Novas and Camaros and, like you said, Chevelles. And the 57 Chevys. I like those really old pictures.
When I started going, they were the real common hobby stock car.
Yeah.
57 Chevys, 55 Chevys, 57 Fords. Then the newer cars like the Chevelles and Fairlanes and stuff, they were the late models.
Right.
And I remember with the late models of those great big tires sticking way out there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
incredible.
Yep.
And Chuck Emery, his uncle raced down at Dubuque. And just watching the old footage, he's got a couple of races black and white on his YouTube page. And seeing when they started doing the actual modifieds, and there'd be a real car in the back, and the front would be all almost like a modified is today, and it was really weird looking. Step into that stuff, it's crazy how much it's evolved.
Yeah, the modifieds have really went wild. I mean, when they started, they caught on pretty fast right away from IMCA. And pretty soon everybody was running them. They were all over the place. They were so cheap. The claim rule was so cheap on the engines.
Yep.
I talked to one guy. He said, "Yeah, we had 10 engines on standby. They were just basically junk engines we threw in there for somebody to claim."
Yeah, because you could do good 1 week, and then somebody could throw $100 or whatever price up and take your motor.
That's crazy.
And then you're stuck with whatever he had left.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So they probably did do a lot of claiming once they found out, well, I didn't get anything better than I had.
Right? And it kind of gives you a name after that, too. Like that guy kind of low-blowed that guy took his motor. Yeah, that guy didn't win that night, but that guy took his motor.
Oh, yeah, there's usually some hard feelings.
Yeah,
I bet.
I mean, it's only happened one time since I've been racing at Darlington. They have a claim rule for the limited late models when it happened. Jason Robbins had been winning every single week, and he went to the back and went to the front a few times, and he won one night going back to the front. And one guy didn't like it, and he pulled some money together and claimed the motor.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
But this claim isn't the same claim rule where they take the motor as their motor. they claim they take it apart and make sure it's legal kind of thing.
Mm.
It's a tear down, not really a claim.
Yeah.
And
Where do they do this at then?
at the track,
Really?
at the tech area. And I remember Jason said, "Yeah, that motor's junk. I'll tell you exactly what you're going to find. this, and this." And I'm like, ain't no way you're telling me the truth right now. He tore it apart. Not only is it legal, I don't know how you're losing to this motor.
Yeah, because that motor was all messed up.
Oh yeah, like
And now there's dust and dirt all over in there.
yeah.
Wasn't every piston a different size?
Different piston. Every cylinder was a different size piston in there. That was a cool story. I hope they get him on there when he gets some free time for him to tell that story really, do justice to that story.
Yeah, he'd have some really good stories.
Oh yeah.
And going back to the start of the track.
Yes, because he was there with him and his dad and all those guys were there.
It was the start of the reopening, anyhow. I mean, not the start of the track.
His dad putting him in his car for the one night, and I remember his story. He said that he thought he'd just go out there and floor it and just get around the corner just wide open, and he said went right into the wall.
Oh.
Yeah, but learned real quick. That's not what.
Rude awakening.
Yep.
I think at one point he was telling Chuck Emery how to get around the track at Darlington when he first started racing. He said, "Run right next to the wall, all the way down the front stretch until you see Jesus, and he turn. And see Jesus in the beer tent and turn."
No kidding.
And then we made a joke. So when we see Ben Wilberding down there, we can turn. But it's always fun to hang around that group. You get a lot of stuff out of them.
Yep.
Especially when they're not being serious, to joke around a little bit more.
Yeah, I enjoy talking to anybody there. They're all a real thrill to talk to. Fun.
Definitely a benefit of not having an enemy at the track at all.
Yeah.
You probably talked to just about everybody there.
Not yet, I haven't. And that's the goal, eventually, everybody.
Take down a list and just go pit to pit.
There's a lot of them I have. Everybody's been really, really good.
It's definitely.
Oh yeah, no, it's been crazy.
And we've mentioned it a couple times. It's a whole family there. Everybody works together on everything.
Mm-hmm. To me, it's a throwback to like Columbus 151 was.
Yeah.
That was a smaller kind of rural type track. Everybody was really laid back. It's the same way here, only a little more so. Because the mindset with asphalt tracks are, if you're a racer there, I got to get there 4 hours early in hot lap for like 4 hours or something.
Yeah.
I got to find that millimeter of tenth of a thousandth of a second. And in the dirt, they pull in there 10, 15 minutes before, unload, and go race. Yeah. I love that. You're not at the track all day and all night like asphalt tracks.
Well, our hot laps is everybody gets about 6 laps, and then you go to the pits.
It's the same for everybody. Yep. So if you haven't figured out the track or anything, you're the same as everybody.
Pay attention week to week what your car is doing, and may or may not get better.
But some people get there pretty early, but I don't know. What time? Who do you think? You're usually one of the first ones there.
We're usually about the first people there, other than like Chris usually has her car down there.
Right.
I know Cranville beat us a couple times last year, but we usually get there, just kind of take everything in, get the car out, nice and easy.
Robinson's, Kyle Hoffman,
they
those
pull
guys
in
get there
usually after us a little bit. We usually pull in there super early because I have the day off of work, so I just as soon as we're ready, load it up and go.
Right.
Yep.
But I like looking at the track, thinking about everything, and you learn a lot just by looking at the track.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting.
I bet you do. Yeah.
Just telling, you can see a groove where this part's drying out a little bit different, or
Will you always go out in hot lap, no matter what?
There was a year where I didn't, because for a while there, Eric didn't, and I thought, Eric's telling me how to drive this car, I'm going to do what Eric does. I'm not going to hot lap every single time. And then I got Terry Edge told me, well, if you don't go out for a hot lap, how do you know what's going to stick and what's not going to stick?
Yeah.
Because the track's going to continuously change. You know where it starts, you know where it's in the middle, and you know where it's at the end.
Sure is.
And so then we started going out for hot laps. For a while there, just overdrive it all, and you don't learn anything, but then you learn to lift a little bit, actually get the car to go through the corner, and then you can go, okay, it's going to get better from here. I know what to expect, I mean, when I first started, Darlington was pretty sloppy at hot laps. Sloppy hot laps.
Yeah.
Heat races were a little bit tackier, but still a little bit wet.
Yep.
And then the features were probably a perfect track.
That's why I got my second place heat finish. Everybody else spun out their tires.
And then just all of a sudden it clicked. And the track is like perfectly evolving through there, not too
They
wet.
do an awesome job of track prep there. You see that everywhere. Everybody says that's one of the best prep tracks there is.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it. I mean, they work at that.
Everybody who works at that track does a dang near perfect job at what they're doing.
Yep.
There was one night when the water truck broke down.
Yep.
And they drove that smaller water truck, but they were trying to get done quick because it was a little bit behind on time. And it was just bouncing. And it turned the track into like a dirt bike track. So the whole time we were driving down, it was just bumpier than anything and shaking everything loose. But you'll have that. They really wanted to get that race in.
Right.
And they had like a meeting, and everybody said, all right, I guess we're going to try and give it a go.
That is the one bad thing about dirt versus asphalt. Asphalt, you can drive the track off and good to go.
Mm-hmm.
And do that with the dirt.
Yep.
If it's a sloppy mess, it's going to be...
Especially with bigger asphalt tracks. They got like jet dryers or things that can actually dry the track out.
And any local track that has the entry-level divisions, like the 6-cylinders or something, they're the guys that get out there.
They go out there and
just
tires. Warm the track up a little bit, dry it out.
And it does. I mean, it'll dry it off pretty fast. I've had to do that before.
I mean, I know this is nothing compared to local guys, but we went to a NASCAR race last year, Amber and I did, the Xfinity race, and it rained pretty heavily before it. And they had to dry it out in like a little over an hour maybe, and we were racing, and they only had like one or two air trucks out there.
Yeah, they have the cream of the crop.
And then the rest, well, for the Xfinity series, they didn't use all that stuff, because it turns out they have to rent those. They have to pay for them to be out there. So they had like 2 air trucks going around, and then they had like just pace truck vehicles going around and trying to track out, like you were saying. But if you had to put a number on it, how many cars did you race or have race cars? How many do you think you had?
I had a couple that I turned around and resold, never raced. Other than that, I had started with a 1990 Geo Prism.
Geo Prism.
And I had that thing for years.
Yep.
That was a tough old devil. I paid $500 for it turnkey.
Boy, that'd be nice.
I put 2 new bodies on it because you get smashed all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And then I had an Acura. I think it would probably only be the 3 cars, because then I had I borrowed a Malibu 6er, a friend of mine had, and I raced that for a couple of years. Then I got my own 6er, a Grand Am.
Yep.
And so probably 4.
I see the Grand Am quite a bit on there.
Yeah.
So
that was one that got somebody wrapped it around a tree. I probably should have started with a better car than that.
Yeah, probably.
Everything was pushed back to the engine. I would never build a car like that again, probably.
No. So, what sticks out most of all the? I know you gave some of our memories here. Just all together, could be racing them, or it could be just being in the travel.
Well, there was a lot of good people that I raced with and met, and I always enjoyed it. Sometimes you'd get somebody to come over. I had a guy at Toma one time. We were racing fender to fender there. I mean, real close. And I'd had some experience at times, so I knew right where I should be, and he stayed there. And he come over to me after. He's a big guy. I'm like, oh man, he's mad about something. He says, "You really know what you're doing out there." He says, "We were this close and you never touched me.
Yep.
Man, you're a good driver." He took my hand and thought, "Ooh, okay."
See,
that's kind of cool.
A lot of people get offended if you race that close now. Now it's not much respect given is what they think.
No, I didn't give an inch and he didn't give an inch, but we both stayed where we needed to be, and we didn't touch. It was fun. He eventually got me on the inside.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are the fun ones, though.
Yeah.
Run door to door.
That's fun when you can race with somebody door to door like that and trust them.
Lap
and there was a few guys I had like that were really good.
Chambers is really good with that. Me and him, if you watch some of my older racing footage from the last 2 years, me and him ran door to door for probably half the year, just perfectly not touching, same distance, and he congratulated me down at Dubuque when we had that battle down there. Then we had another battle the week after, it was just fun between
That was a fun race to watch. I remember that.
yeah.
I think I was in the infield for that.
For the second week, the one he won and I
The one you won.
the one I won, yeah.
Mm.
So
Because I remember I waited for everybody else to congratulate. I didn't want to bother you.
right,
And then I came over as soon as it kind of died down a little bit.
I was up
First
in the
feature
air.
win is really, really neat.
Yeah.
I was up in the air. I couldn't even.
And at Dubuque, that's tough
Yeah.
anywhere.
Well, I don't know if you believe in supernatural type things. But something was making it look like there was a white car coming past my nose every corner, out of the corner of my eye. So I was like, "They're coming! They're coming! They're coming!"
Yeah.
And that's why in Victory Lane, he's like, "Oh yeah, you really ran away from Chambers." I said, "Oh no, I know he was there. He was there." And you watch the video, and nobody's to my door, but there was something in my head,
Right.
making it seem like there's somebody there.
It kept pushing you around the
So
track.
it's like, don't let up now. Don't let up now.
Yeah, you knew.
Yeah.
You had the experience by that time to know that somebody's going to get you if you don't hit your marks every corner and everything and do it perfect. You got to run the perfect race. And you did.
That and
he was good. I mean, he didn't just slam.
He was
into
there.
you.
He was there.
He's not going to just let you win.
then the caution comes out with 4 to go, and I'm like, well, I gave it a good try. I had 2 Hondas right behind me. I'm like, they're going by me. I gave it my best shot.
Yeah.
And I had to ask Chambers after that. I said, you didn't just give me that win, did you? You weren't just playing with me. I actually earned that one. Like, oh, no, I tried.
Yeah, no, he's going to try.
Yeah.
And the week after, it was me and him up front again.
Yeah.
And I've told this story a couple times, probably on here.
I'm sure.
But he was slipping up in the middle of the corner, every corner. But there was only one lane. You couldn't get out of that lane because there was no grip down there in the corners. So I was just following around because I could watch his car push in the center of the corner. I'm like, all right, there's where I'm going to go on the last lap. I'm going around him right here.
Right.
And the last lap comes. I'm coming in the corner. I'm like, okay, it's about to happen. And he hit the brakes instead of going into the corner like normal. And I ran into the back of him a little bit. And I couldn't get by him. I'm like, oh no! I got second out of that deal, but it was still fun.
Mm-hmm.
So when I won, he came up to me, revved the engine up, and gave me a thumbs up. Yep. So when he beat me, I did the same thing. Kind of drove up to the window and gave him a good thumbs up. It's just fun. That's kind of stuff. And
oh yeah,
that's the stuff you always remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good runs you had with people that you can trust. Race with.
Oh yeah, and it's really cool seeing like some of the people who respect each other and they're gonna give each other the same amount of room every single time.
Right.
Like Eric Bowe, I know what we're gonna do each time, and I know I can run there. Except for one time, the last race he raced at Darlington, I was trying to get around him, and I knew where he was going was the high side, but I knew I needed to get there first. So I put it up above him on the front stretch. It didn't quite get to his door yet. So he came up and fenced me a little bit, and I had to back off the gas and try to get around on the next lap. That's another thing, just saying, like, no mirrors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to be pretty much to their door completely.
You got to have the sense of where people are.
Yeah.
You can't be looking in, there's no mirror to look in.
And sometimes you can hear them.
And that kind of comes with experience, too. I learned that, too. After a while, you learn to listen to the engines, and you want to know where they are, and you might feel a little bump or something, and you know people are there.
I always,
that's any kind of race.
I don't know if this ever happened to you, but I always love it when you get out of the car and somebody comes up and goes, "Hey, I'm sorry for getting into you." And you're like, you got into me? I didn't feel nothing. But
yeah, sometimes people come over and it's real. They apologize, and it's not even actually necessary. They didn't really do anything.
Mm-hmm. Now I always apologize when I think I'm in the wrong.
Yeah, if I run into somebody and I
except for probably 2 times, I've been like, all right, I'm gonna let that guy cool down for a little while before I even go talk to him. Like Johnny Campbell, we had him on here. It took until the podcast for me to try to apologize for something, and then he told me it was all his fault, and I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. I'm sorry.
That could have been interesting, and both of you apologized at the same time.
Yeah, he told me it was all because his car did something funky, and he kind of pulled him down in. From the video that Dunright has, it looks like I hit the brakes or something, and he drove down on the tire. And he said his car just did it, and I never even touched him. He said
that was at Dubuque.
Makokata. Yep. Yep. And I've only raced dirt nationals at Dubuque twice. Yeah, twice. The first 2 ones that I was there for. First one, my car didn't run. I had to race Eric's, and that was right after my grandpa had passed away. And mine wasn't running. Eric trying to fix it in the pits, and it wouldn't work. And then about 2 minutes to go till we had to be in the infield for heat race lineup. He said, "Go get my car. Go see if it fits you." I get in and the belts barely fit me because he's, let's just face it, he's quite a bit skinnier than I am. And then I raced it, and I thanked him for it at the end, and he said, "Well, this race meant more to you than it ever would have been for me." It made me feel pretty good because he was close to my grandpa too.
Right.
And then we raced. The second year we raced there, car was doing pretty good. I was racing door-to-door with Cranbull. That's Cranbull's first year in a white car, white paint scheme. So he was really quick that year. And we're about to pass him, and all of a sudden the transmission blew up. So then we had third gear only and just kind of putts around for the rest of the race.
I kind of remember that, yeah.
That was no fun.
That is really important. You got to be comfortable in the car. The time I borrowed that car the first time, it was actually a lady that had been driving it. And she became pregnant, so she couldn't finish out the year. And she was, a lot bigger than me. And I'm trying to reach the pedal, and I'm going like this, kind of. Yeah. They put a bunch of pillows behind me and on me and everything, and then finally could reach it because I'm short, 5'4", 5'5". Probably don't get any shorter than me. Everybody's taller than me, so that was hard trying to drive that. And then I'm driving like this with my arm all extended. And, it just wasn't comfortable.
That's about how Eric's car was.
Yeah, he's tall.
His steering wheel was actually closer to me, I think. No, I was out here like this, but he has his like in a factory location. So you're like this, and I'm reaching the pedals fine because he sits pretty close, and it's just his seat's as tight as a seat could go for me.
Yeah.
And then and it's just like, okay. And then I was only worried about it for maybe a lap. And then it clicked in my head that if I don't drive this right, I'll probably never get to drive it again. I'll disappoint Eric if I don't drive this like I should.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's always fun. And like you said, it's kind of being comfortable in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And
nothing's better than your own car.
Yes.
Yeah. You got that set up for you.
Without a doubt.
When you can finally get used to the car, it's great. Like we told you on the last week's episode, when I could smell the popcorn down the front stretch, that's how calm I was last year.
Right.
Going down the front stretch in the corner, I'm like, oh, that popcorn smells pretty good.
That's nice when you get to that point where you can drive the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not like the first win year for me, I was panicking up front the whole time. Mm-hmm. I was fine being up there, but it was, they're coming. And then now it's like, okay, just got to hit this mark. Got to be good here. Don't screw up.
Now it's let them try to come.
Yeah. And then think of how I can avoid them if they're there, you know. But you see what happens? He's like a master interviewer. It turns into, I asked him, we got him talking for most of it, and then he got me talking.
That's perfect. It's a podcast.
It's almost as dangerous. You said it's dangerous to get you talking, right? It's dangerous to get me talking.
Yep.
Because as I'm telling one story, another one's clicking off in the background.
Yep. Well, normally you're the one talking all the time, so it's going to balance the force. So.
And then Blade starts picking on me for the last couple episodes.
Okay, well.
But we're going to have to get you on again because there's a lot of stuff we didn't cover that we talked about before the episode that I kind of forgot that we didn't cover on the recording. But I really enjoyed having you on here.
Yeah, it's an honor.
It's been fun.
Pleasure.
This has been
Beers and Gears, episode 14. It's been pretty good. But until next time, folks.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Blake.
Hello.
See ya. Hey guys, don't forget to like,
comment,
and subscribe
to the Beers and Gears podcast.
Come on, people!